Hi, and welcome to the SaVeg podcast. I'm Rose, and I'm a content creator going by the handle Cheap Lazy Vegan, and I also own a vegan cafe by the same name as the podcast, which is SaVeg Cafe.
And I'm Daniel, also a vegan, and one of your favorite guest stars on Cheap Lazy Vegan's YouTube channel.
We're two friends currently living in different countries, and we'll be giving our savage take on all things life, veganism, and the latest trending topics.
So basically, whatever comes to our minds, because we love to talk.
You are currently listening to the previous episode of this podcast, but if you would like to listen to this week's episode and get some exclusive content, go over to patreon.com/thesavagepodcast. All right, are we recording?
We sure are. We are on record.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the SaVeg podcast. I don't know why I'm talking. Wow, that was a really bad British accent. Guys, I am losing it. Remember when I had such a great British accent?
Was that a thing? Did that happen? Did you actually ever have a really
I
great
do
one?
believe that I believed that I had a great British accent. But hello, guys. This is normal Canadian Rose speaking.
Yes, yeah. Not British Rose.
Not British Rose. Although I could do an episode talking like this the entire time.
Could you?
Should we do it? Remember one time we wanted to do something like that?
I do think I
You-
I can't even do
lost
it.
it.
Yeah.
Can you still do the Geordie?
Not very well.
Would you like to try it?
What am I going to say? Hey, God, getting on the microphones and recording the podcast, like... No, it's so
Well, I wouldn't be able to know. I mean, it sounded great to me,
True.
but
To you, it sounds...
so that's the Newcastle accent.
Yeah, the Geordie accent.
The Geordie.
For those of you that don't know, I did live there for a year.
Yes.
And got really well integrated into the society there, you know, just
yeah,
really...
you became a Geordie.
I did. Got mortal on the weekends. Hit the tune.
Hit the tune. Is that town?
Yeah. They say tune over there.
They have a very strong accent.
Yeah.
I remember when Geordie Shore came out. That was the reality show that copied Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
And I remember the first episode or something was like, this is like many years ago.
Yeah.
And I remember like the first episode was airing on TV somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, I'll just like try to give it I'll watch it.
Give it a spin.
Yeah. And I watched it for about maybe 5 minutes. And I was like, I do not understand a thing these people are saying. I was like, is this English?
Yeah. It takes a while to get used to be honest. The thing is, I do feel like that show, like, don't get me wrong, in Newcastle, people really like to party, and it was a very big party city because it's like a very student-y city as well.
Yes.
And it's super cheap to drink. So people do get really, really drunk, but like there's so much more to Newcastle that I feel like the show Geordie Shore like just didn't incorporate.
Right.
Because obviously it was just about people drinking and partying. Because like the city itself is really pretty, and the accent, like there's different variations of it. So you have like the really, really hard and difficult to understand, but then you have like, I guess you could call it like a posh Geordie that has like more of an easier to understand accent.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So it was
interesting. Even within Newcastle, there are multiple accents.
Yeah.
It's like London. There's many different types of accents in London.
there sure is. Top of the morning to you, Rose. Top of the morning.
Isn't that Irish? No, okay, I have a little story about the Geordie accent as well. Another story. So when I was living in the UK, for those of you that don't know, we both lived in the UK.
Yeah.
I lived in London for 2 years. Daniel lived in Newcastle and then London for many years. Mm-hmm. We also need to change our intro. Everyone keeps telling us we're so shit. Maybe we'll do it after.
Yeah, let's do it after this.
Anyways. So basically, when I first moved to the UK, my parents came to visit me at some point. Mm-hmm. And I was like, because like you're living in London, and what's the thing to do in London? You go to what do they call it? The West End?
Oh yeah, the theaters. Basically.
Yeah, the theater, and
they
call it. Do they call it West End?
The West End, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like Broadway, but it's in London, and it's there are lots of theaters and lots of different shows to watch. So I was like, oh, let me just get, some kind of tickets to a show. Mm-hmm. So I got tickets to Billy Elliot, which is a very British sort of like musical.
Yeah, and it's based in the north as well. That's why they would.
It's based in, I'm pretty sure it's based in Newcastle.
It's close. Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah.
So I didn't know what it was about. I was like, you know what, but it's like, very highly rated and it seems to be something to do. So I got us tickets, me and my parents. We went there, and the whole time it was like a really, really strong, thick Newcastle or whatever northerner accent.
Yeah.
And my parents were just like, and keep in mind, English is their second language.
Yeah, true.
It's, they're not like completely comfortable with English, especially my dad.
Yeah.
And they're just like, what are they? And even I couldn't understand. Like, I got used to it after a little bit. But in the beginning, and I was like, I felt so bad. I was like, oh God, they don't understand a word.
Yeah.
My mom understood a little bit at the end, but my dad was just like, I don't know what's happening.
I don't know what is going on. But that's like, to be fair, like the accents, like you do get used to them after a while. So like when I first moved to Newcastle, I worked at this restaurant, and everyone there they had such strong accents. And I remember my first shift, I was like, oh my God, like I'm going to need to get a translator. I don't understand what's going on. And then within a matter of like probably a month, I was like, so your ear gets used to it.
You get used to it. Yeah.
And
but if English is your first language, then you get used to it.
Exactly. But if it's your second
language, oh God.
Yeah, that would be a lot more challenging.
May the Lord be with you.
Yeah, but it's technically your second language too, isn't it?
Well, I mean, technically, yes.
Yeah.
Technically, it is my second language, but it is, I don't know, is it still considered, I guess it is still considered my second language?
It would be different. Okay, the way that I would think it's not considered a second language, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but like I think if you grew up learning, like let's say you grew up in a place where you spoke both Korean and English, like completely, and you learned both of those from the day you were born.
Right.
You wouldn't have, technically they would both be your first language.
Oh, interesting.
But because you learned Korean first.
Yes.
And you didn't learn English until you were probably in school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then that would be considered your second language because your primary language is Korean.
But my language that I'm most comfortable with now is English.
Yeah.
So, but the language I learned first was Korean.
Yeah.
Anyways, either way.
Yeah.
God
damn.
Speaking of accents and getting used to accents, I remember when I did a study abroad in Italy, and in the very beginning, we did this like Italian crash course, and I was in this Italian crash course with a lot of different people, and there was a couple of people from Singapore. I
love this Singapore accent. It's the best.
Oh, guys. There are going to be many accents in this podcast episode, just warning you. So I had never met anybody from Singapore before. I didn't know anything about Singapore.
Yeah.
And I was talking to these lovely people from Singapore. They're really nice. And I could not understand a word they were saying. I was like, I think it's English.
Yeah.
It sounds English, but it's like such a thick accent. Anyways, so the very beginning when I was talking to them, I was like, oh my God, like I don't understand what they're saying. I understand a little bit, but I'm like, oh God. But then of course, if you guys know anything about me, I actually lived in Singapore the year after. So I moved to Singapore the year after I did my Italy exchange. And then I became a master at the Singaporean
Singaporean accent. Can you give us a little sample?
Oh God. Well, now I think I'm very rusty. It's been like almost 10 years. Because we're recording the podcast. We record the SaVeg podcast. I can't do it.
It sounds pretty good so far.
Yeah?
The thing that I loved in Singapore, which was really funny though, like so when I went there on holidays, is like they also like really shorten stuff. And they'll just like, I remember like being in like, I don't know, a restaurant or something.
This is my story.
No, because it happened to me as well.
Oh, okay. What happened?
I was going to get a burger.
This is my story. It definitely did not happen to you.
It definitely did happen to me.
No, I've told this so many times. I think you think that it happened to you.
Oh my God. No,
the Burger King Whopper. Is this what you're talking about?
No, it wasn't a Whopper.
Mm-hmm. I swear
Okay.
I swear this is my story, but continue. Did this happen to you? Which restaurant did you go to, Daniel?
I think it was McDonald's.
No.
I swear. Okay, anyway, what happened? Okay, Rose, you tell the story then.
No.
Why do I think it happened to me?
I don't know. You do this thing where you think something happened to you.
No, maybe it wasn't.
You do this often.
Okay, well maybe it wasn't the specific burger thing. It was like just when I was there, they were just very like, if you were like, oh, can you show me the way here or something? Can.
Yeah, they like to say can.
Yeah, or like, should I like do that? You should. It's like they'll be like really short sentences, you know?
Yes. Well, this is my story,
okay,
which I think you think happened to you.
I swear it did. Anyway.
I think I know you better than you know yourself. Daniel does this a lot where I'll tell a story and then later on he'll tell it as if it's like his story. Mm-hmm. It happens.
This definitely happened to me. I'm gonna like go through my travel journals because I took travel journals and it would definitely be.
It'll be like Rose told me the story.
It won't. Anyway, tell the story, Rose.
So when I was in Singapore, again, I've told the story many times, which is why I know it happened to me.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. And didn't happen to me because it couldn't happen to anyone else but Rose.
Well, it's also kind of ironic that it's also a burger situation.
There's a lot of burger places in Singapore, Rose. Okay, and we've both been there eating burgers.
So one time, this is pre-vegan Rose.
Yeah.
I went traveling somewhere and then I came back to Singapore and I was going to Burger King, not McDonald's, Burger King. And then I remember I went to the counter and I was like, I wanted to get a Whopper Junior, but then it wasn't on the menu. It just said Whopper. So I was like, do you have Whopper? No, what did I say? See, now I'm getting confused. You could probably tell it better than I can now.
Do you have?
Do you have Do you have a Whopper Junior? Have.
Can I get it?
Can I get it? Can. And I was like, oh my God.
You're like, so does that mean I can have it?
Can. Instead of saying yes, they like to say like have, can.
Yeah.
But they say can a lot.
Yeah.
So I was used to people saying can, but I wasn't used to someone saying have.
True. I also like the way they also be like, Auntie.
Auntie.
Hot out, easy. They like ask a question.
Take away.
Yeah.
Take away. Oh my God.
God.
I love it. And the thing is, though, they have what they call, sorry guys, we're going off on,
it's a
whatever.
very big
It's
of a
fine.
tangent.
It's fine. You should just be used to this.
The format of the podcast.
Exactly. They have this thing called Singlish. So they have multiple languages that they speak in Singapore.
Yeah.
So there's English, there's Mandarin, there's Tamil, which is like kind of like an Indian language.
It's dialect, I think.
And there's Malay, which is like Malaysian language.
Yeah.
I think. So there's 4 languages, but they also have something that's like an unofficial language. It's called Singlish, where they like kind of mix all 4 elements into like their own language. And unless you're Singaporean, you probably would never understand.
Yeah, true.
And you'd walk around, and the thing is, they all spoke perfect English too. When you actually speak to them, other than having a very strong accent, they spoke perfect English most of the time. But then when you hear people talking just on the street amongst themselves, you're like,
are they speaking English?
Is it English?
Is that what I'm hearing?
But then you're like, it sounds like English, kind of, but you can't understand anything they're saying.
Yeah.
So it's not English, that's Singlish.
Okay.
Anyways.
Interesting, yeah.
So that's our little,
Nice little tangent there, Rose. Thank you.
It's been nice going back in time.
All those memories,
The memories.
It's like we're living vicariously through our memories, right now.
I know,
'cause,
right?
We can't travel, but
I know. I want to go back to Singapore.
oh God. I know. I want to go back to Asia. I haven't been to Asia in so
long. I think you've been more recently than I have.
So my last trip to Asia was Hong Kong, and that was 2014.
Yeah, I haven't been to Asia since 2011. I know.
That's shocking.
I know.
We need to go.
And the last time I was in Singapore, and look how rusty my Singaporean accent is.
Well, I mean, that's almost 10 years ago, Rose.
It's been 10 years. I can't do
it. Next year, literally, it's 10 years.
Next year, it's been 10 years.
Wow.
Whew. I know.
All right. So what are we talking about today?
Today we're going to talk about the the recent event.
Yeah. So we have a few things.
The global news.
I don't. Some of these stories like they've been happening over the last little while, so they might not be like super like current, but it's just like crazy some stuff that's been going on.
Some crazy shit around the world, guys.
So today we're going to be talking about a little bit of some vegan company drama.
Oh God.
We have this that we're gonna delve into. We also have a interesting story, and it's kind of been progressing. I think the main part of the story happened in June. But I read this article and I was just like, oh my God, this scared the shit out of me. So we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
And then also there's been a lot of stuff going on. You've probably heard about it I'm going to say this name wrong. Do you know how to pronounce the city? Kenosha in the US.
Can you show me the Kenosha?
Kenosha, Wisconsin.
I'm going to guess it's Kenosha.
Okay. So, and there's a lot of stuff that's been going on in Kenosha as well. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today, guys.
All right. Shall we dive deep?
We should. So Rose, do you want to tell us all about the drama in the vegan community?
Oh God. Well, guys, I talked about this in my latest mukbang video. If you have seen it, well, it might not be the latest by the time this goes out to the public, but anyways.
Yeah.
So there has been some drama between the big, I guess, mock meat companies. Like, I don't even know what they would be called, like plant-based innovative companies.
Yeah.
So if you guys know, there's obviously Beyond Meat, there's Impossible Meat, and there's also a company called Light Life. I can never say Light Life Foods. Yeah. Okay. And Light Life Foods is owned by Maple Leaf Foods, which is a Canadian, like a huge Canadian giant food corporation, which is not vegan, but Light Life is owned by them.
Yeah.
And recently, Light Life decided to basically put out this really, I guess, distasteful ad campaign where they were basically targeting specifically Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods and telling them that they need to stop using such harmful ingredients and ingredients that people can't pronounce, and the ingredients list is way too long, and it's just like you know, you put too many things, and how their food is real food, and how Light Life only makes real food instead of food created in a lab. And anyways, all kinds of shit. They basically like made this campaign, and they also like had some kind of open letter to Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods, where they kind of just like, you know, slammed them essentially. And people were like, like there's a lot of backlash because a lot of people are like, is your food really like that much healthier? Because some people were saying like, because what they did was they showed the ingredients list of the different like the 3 different burgers, right? So there's Light Life, there's Beyond, and there's Impossible. And they were like basically saying how theirs is like, oh, you can pronounce these ingredients, and also they have a shorter ingredients list, so it's like better. And then some people are just like, well, you can't just say something has a shorter ingredients list, therefore it's better.
Exactly.
Like that's not really an argument unless you actually prove. I mean, you could also prove it and not like be such a dick.
No, but this is my point exactly. So I didn't know too much about this story until you told me. And like my thing, because I used to remember, so like obviously these aren't the first companies that done these kind of, I call them like slander campaigns almost.
Smear
campaigns. And honestly, I think it is the worst form of advertising. And hear me out for a second, because this is the reason, my reasoning behind this is because I think like, okay, if you make a product, your product, when you advertise it, you can advertise it in such a way where, you know, the benefits of your product should be what sells your product, not the fact that you say that it is, you know, if you're contrasting so negatively against a competitor, I think it's like you're throwing somebody under the bus. It's like they used to have those Tide, I think it was Tide or one of the laundry detergents, and they'd always be like, you get more loads out of our laundry, blah 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 blah, compared to the at first the top leading brand, you get so much more, blah 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 blah. Whereas, you know, you can still talk about how efficient your product is without bashing other companies. Right. Or like in this case, they could have come forward and been like, our burgers use, or our products use really, really easy to pronounce, or not easy to pronounce, but like all natural ingredients. You know, they could market it that way. So you're still capturing that segment of the audience that's like, you know what, I'm looking for more natural kind of foods without throwing somebody else under the bus and being like, don't buy their product because of X, Y, Z. Yeah. Because I think it's just like a not tasteful way to market. Because you're basically saying like, I'm better than you. Yeah. This is what I'm marketing. Buy my product over Rose's because Rose's doesn't have X, Y, Z. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just think it's like not a nice way to campaign. I agree. I think, again, if you have a good product, you need to market what are the attributes of that product that are beneficial to the consumers. So
exactly. Yeah. They could have totally done something, you know, where, I mean, it might still be bullshit, but like they could have still been like, oh, we use clean. Cause I think that is what they tried to do before. Like they would say like, oh, we, you know, use clean ingredients or whatever that means. Right. But then I guess maybe, I don't know, maybe they wanted to target it more, and they were like, are they even allowed to do that? Like, is that kind of advertising even allowed?
I didn't think it was. I thought that's why a lot of
people say like, oh, it's better than the leading brand. Yeah, they can't like straight up call out. Like,
so there actually might, you know what?
There might be lawsuits.
I was going to say, I think that there could be potential lawsuits because I don't think that you're allowed to, as a company, say that your product is better than another company's. Because
but then, like, I mean, you'd think that if you're owned by Maple Leaf Foods, like you would know kind of how to
handle yourself.
As in like, well, no, but the thing is, I do think that part of the reason why this sort of campaign came out of Light Life, this is just my speculation, but they were recently acquired by Maple Leaf Foods like a few years ago. And because this company, Maple Leaf, is obviously a big meat giant, they don't really understand the plant-based message. Like, they probably don't fully get it. You know what I mean? Like, they have that kind of same meat company mentality, maybe, perhaps. So they think that it's a smart idea to be like, oh, actually, because people think, oh, because, you know, the audience is plant-based consumers, like automatically we're going to care more about clean ingredients and like, you know, being healthy, even though that's not really it. And like Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods are really popular brands.
Hugely.
So like,
yeah, it's a tough one. And I just think, again, if you're marketing yourself in that way, you're going to get subject to backlash, and people are not going to be happy because people because even before I took marketing or even understood any of that kind of stuff, and even anytime I saw commercials like that, I always thought, I don't like this. Like, it's not nice to throw somebody else under the bus.
Yeah, it's just like weird.
Yeah, even if your product is better, like, or whatever, I'm not saying one product is better than the other. You should let it market, like, you should market those qualities of your product without being like, oh, well, that product shit and mine's this.
Yeah.
So,
And like I really don't even think it's that much healthier.
Yeah. I mean,
and also the funny thing is that Light Life Foods recently collaborated with KFC to create a vegan fried chicken burger, which I tried recently, and it's very good. And that was my mukbang. But I was like, I just find it so ironic that they literally just came out with this clearly unhealthy fried vegan chicken burger, which is deep fried, and it's sold at KFC of all places.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna do some weird smear campaign talking about how clean your meat is, or like clean your plant-based meat is.
Yeah.
It's like
doesn't sit right.
it's just so stupid.
Exactly.
Like, you just collaborated. Look, I have no problem with you collaborating with KFC. Like,
Yeah.
fucking do that shit. I'm all for that.
Yeah.
But then don't turn around and be like, we are all about the
Healthiness.
clean and
Yeah.
healthy meat.
Clean
It's like,
eating, but we're going to promote a fried chicken burger or fried fake chicken burger. Like, come on.
Exactly. It's like,
Yeah.
Anyway, so that happened.
Yeah.
So a lot of backlash against them. So that's interesting.
It's going to be interesting to see what comes of that,
Oh my
because
God.
I do think there's going to be some lawsuits.
Oh, shit.
I think you're right in the, like, you know, there's advertising standards and stuff.
Yeah,
I think that's why a lot of companies have changed to, like, we're better than the top leading brand or this XYZ. Because I don't think you can actually name another company, because it would be considered slander, right?
Right.
So I don't know. I could be wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. It depends on how they word it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's kind of treading on like very dangerous territory.
Treading on thin ice, to be
Yes,
honest.
exactly.
I mean, that ice going to crack and someone's going to die.
Oh, God damn.
Hopefully not die. Well, speaking of death.
Oh, God. Well, that's such a weird transition. Speaking of death.
Oh, God. Okay, so this story, I'm gonna tell you this story.
Hold on, let me
Rose.
just read this title, because I don't know this story, guys.
Okay.
So the title that we have here: a Seattle area landlord charged with murder after remains of couple found inside suitcases. Okay, you give me the.
I'm going to tell you what happened, because I read this story. So apparently this landlord's been charged. But the creepy thing about this story, so I'm going to tell you about how this particular body has been found. So apparently, and I'm not in the know of what goes on with, like, you know, these new things. There's a new app that was launched this summer, or like maybe
a new
earlier.
app.
Yeah.
Okay.
Called, I'm going to say it probably wrong, but Randonautica.
Okay.
So it's right here. Randonautica.
Randonautica. Okay.
So what it is, I like kind of did a little bit of research. I don't fully understand how it works. I've never used it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like one of those games you can play on your phone, whereby, like, you know, like Pokemon Go, where you would walk around the city and it gets you to, like, get outside and walk around and explore things.
Okay, sure.
So Randonautica is kind of similar, whereby you can kind of create your own adventure
Okay.
within your city, and it will, like, drop a pin somewhere randomly, and you have to go and find where this pin is, right?
Oh, God, I feel like I know where this is going.
Yeah. So apparently there was a bunch of young teens that were playing almost like a scavenger hunt, right? With using this app, and they were TikToking as well and, like, doing all this stuff,
Okay.
right? So this Randonautica dropped a pin on the beach, like right by this pier. And so the kids, you know, they go to see it. And right around the area where this pin had been dropped was this black suitcase.
Oh my God.
And these kids are, like, the whole time, like, TikToking and, like, filming, because they're like, oh my God, we found this suitcase, like, so random. And then they, like, lifted up the suitcase on the TikTok, right? And there was, like, a garbage bag in there, and it, like, was basically, the suitcase was full, like, really full, and there was, like, a horrible smell coming from it.
Oh God.
Yeah. And the kids were like, oh my God, like, what do we do? Like, what, you know? So obviously they called the police and everything, and then it turned out that there was two bodies in there.
Right.
And, like, I just think to myself, I was like, oh my God, imagine you're a kid playing a game and randomly stumble across something like this. Like, that would scar you for life.
Yeah. Like what?
It's so crazy. And, like, the scary thing is, well, not the scary thing, this whole thing is, like, really, really scary. So the man that was charged was apparently the couple. So it was this couple that was murdered, and the guy that got charged was their landlord.
Right.
And apparently the couple themselves, like, from a couple articles I saw, like, they were kind of into some shady stuff themselves. Like, you know, like, they weren't, you know, they were, like, drug dealing or doing something. I'm not 100% sure, but it doesn't warrant it anyway.
Yeah.
And apparently they weren't paying the rent. So the landlord was like,
killed them?
I know. That's what I heard.
What?
Yeah.
That is the most crazy. This is the craziest story.
I know. So apparently the man that was charged had rented the room to the couple and was involved in a dispute with them regarding payment. He was also angry at them for potential criminal activity in the home.
He was angry at the potential criminal activity, so he killed them.
I know.
This is crazy.
It's like nuts. But I still think like the fact that the remains were found by children, like
Oh my God,
they were like teens.
But still, they're like pretty much children.
Yeah, like going on a little scavenger
So wait,
hunt, having fun.
this app, so basically do they just like, it'll just pin wherever like
I think
randomly?
so. Yeah, I haven't actually used it. So, but I think that's why it's called Randonautica or
Right,
whatever.
because it's like random.
Yeah, so you would like basically you can create your own little scavenger hunts and like fun like things, and you just like kind of go around your city. And apparently, like that's how they found this like that's so terrifying.
That is terrifying. I feel like this app is it's doomed for failure at this
Oh my
point.
God, like that is scary.
Yeah. How
Like-
did it randomly pin in that location?
I don't know, but that's
so crazy.
I mean-
but I mean, okay, to be fair, it's like in a suitcase in a beach, like it was bound to be found.
Of course, yeah. I think it had actually washed up. This is what had happened.
Oh,
and
he
then
threw it in the water, maybe.
I think.
Oh my God, you guys. That is fucking scary. Pay your rent, my
I
friends.
know. Oh God.
Oh God. Be careful who you rent from.
Exactly.
Is another thing.
That's scary. I mean, right now, everyone, like, I don't know, in Canada, I don't know what it's like everywhere else, but I think up until the end of this month, you can't get evicted for not paying your rent right now.
Oh, because of like the protections?
Yeah, because of the COVID.
The vid.
Because of the vid be doing lots of things.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Really?
Dang.
Even so, there are eviction protections.
I think so right now.
Oh,
I think it
interesting.
ends. This is the crazy thing. At the end of this month,
Yeah.
I think the CERB ends.
Yeah, see, this makes no sense because we had CERB, which
Yeah.
is, for those of you guys that don't know, it's in Canada. And basically, if you lost your job or you couldn't work or you only made less than $1,000 a month
Yeah.
through your job, then you can get a $2,000 basically like fund from the government.
Yeah.
And basically anyone can get it as long as like you didn't work and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And each month people got this $2,000. So, but then they also have this landlord protection or eviction protection.
Yeah.
But then now it's all ending at the same time.
I know,
Wouldn't
it's
it
all-
make more sense to keep the eviction protection?
Stagger it a bit. Yeah.
Or like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
anyway.
It's a weird one because you would think as well, like, why, if the CERB is out,
Exactly.
why do you have landlord protection as well? You'd think you
Exactly.
do like 6 months of CERB, then you have
Exactly. That would make more sense.
Yeah, and also the banks were giving people like mortgage holidays as well,
Right.
And I think that also ends at the end of this month.
Right. So, I mean, we'll see what happens.
I know. it's
Hopefully
going-
people save some of that CERB money, but I don't think so.
I think they just be going out and eating and
Oh my
drinking
God.
and spending.
God damn, Daniels.
Be crazy as all hell and
Oh,
tarnation in a
God damn.
handbasket.
Too many people taking advantage
of the system.
of the system.
God damn.
So anyways, that's the first crazy ass story. Holy shit.
I know. Honestly, like when I was like reading this, I was just like, oh my God, 'cause that's like one of my biggest fears is like
Being
just-
killed?
No, random. Well, that too. But one of my like biggest fears
Oh, like
is
coming across
stumbling
a dead body?
Yeah, this is why. Okay.
Have you ever seen a dead body,
No.
Daniel? You've never seen. What about at a funeral?
Oh
Like,
yeah, no, I have it at a funeral.
Yeah.
But like one of my like biggest fears is like it's kind of stupid, but like this is why I really like when I go swimming, I like the water to be like clear because I'm always scared of like going into a
Oh.
lake where it's a bit murky and then just like brushing up against the body.
Oh my God, Daniel, that is the weirdest
I know, but I just
fear.
like I don't know what it is.
You watch too many crime shows.
I do honestly. I think it's Forensic Files that ruined me because now I'm like every lake has a body. I swear.
Honestly though, like it must.
Oh my
Like
God.
every lake, every big like piece of water must.
Yeah,
right?
when you would, oh my God, I don't know. It just really freaks me out. So when I can't see the bottom of the water, I just get I don't like it.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and also like if you killed someone, maybe actually I have no idea.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you watch enough Forensic Files. Is dumping it in the lake the best way to hide evidence?
Well, I don't think so.
No.
I think
Yeah.
because this is going to sound disgusting. I don't know if I should even say this in the podcast, but apparently like, because a lot of the time what people will do is they try to like sink the body to the bottom. They'll try to like give it weights and stuff.
Yeah.
Because what happens is like, as we like decompose
Yes.
in the
Oh, you
water,
lift?
we lift. So,
Right.
Because if you notice,
because you get lighter.
exactly. And also I think it's something to do with like the bacteria or something that decompose your body. It becomes,
Right.
it makes your body more buoyant.
Right.
So that's why often they'll put like weights and stuff because as soon as the body becomes like that, it just floats to the top of the water. That's why like if you like you would just like see it. Yeah, it would just come to the top. Oh God. It's, but honestly, like that's why sometimes if we go on holidays with like my family and stuff, if it's like a really murky lake, I'll like sometimes just like go in a little bit and then I'm like I don't go any further. 'Cause I'm
Oh
just like,
my
no,
God.
Nope.
How many people have discovered bodies in the water? Quite a lot.
I don't know. I don't think it's that many, but just the fear's there. Okay, the fear
I think you're
is
more
there.
likely to discover when you're like on a hike or actually maybe not. I don't know.
Oh,
or like you're just jogging in the woods.
Don't say these things. Now I'm not going to do anything, Rose. I'm literally never going to leave my house.
Oh God.
It was like my dad today. So I was like,
Did he discover a dead body?
No. He was like, no, but he was just like, speaking of like just like random fears and stuff.
Yeah.
My dad's like, so my parents were like, do you feel pretty safe like walking downtown in Calgary? I was like, yeah, like I feel really safe.
Oh
like,
God.
Nothing's ever happened. Like, and I think it's a really safe city. And then my dad's like, well, apparently someone from his work was attacked downtown by some girl, just like randomly like jumped this guy and just started punching him and stuff in broad daylight.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I was like,
what?
It's just as my parents were about to drive me downtown. And I was like, why would you say that? Honestly, I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God. Just randomly. Is he okay?
Yeah, he's fine. Apparently it's fine, but now he like doesn't want to have any like assignments downtown and stuff.
Oh my God.
I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this. Well, I probably am.
Oh, whatever. He doesn't even live in downtown.
No.
So I actually live in downtown. So that's fantastic to hear. Love it. I mean, one time Daniel was getting dropped off.
Oh, yeah.
And near my place, and he saw someone. You can explain.
My dad pulled up to the side of this thing, like close to Rose's place. There was a guy sitting on this like concrete thing. It was like a display or whatever, with his pants completely down. Just sat there. His sweater was like over his like private parts and stuff, like this. But he was like taking a shit.
Oh God.
and then it's so funny because every time my dad drops me off now, he's like, "Do you want me to drop you off at that place where the guy was taking the shit?" I was like, oh God.
Oh God. It's actually bad though. Like we joke about it, but like I do think it's getting worse.
Yeah.
Because every time I'm walking, I see someone having some kind of, I don't know, drug induced or psychotic episode. Like almost every single day I see it.
Well, they do say that the pandemic has brought about like increases of like drug use, alcoholism, because people that were maybe on the verge before have like gone over the edge now because they're like stressed about work. And whenever people get stressed and anxious, that's when they start, well, not all people, but a lot of people like start using or abusing. And apparently what's really sad as well is domestic violence cases have gone through the roof as well, because especially during quarantine, you're locked up with your partner and they're probably heavily drinking or who knows what. And those cases have gone up a lot, which is really sad.
Seriously, that's really bad.
Yeah.
Like I can't, like we were complaining about quarantining, but like imagine being quarantined in like a toxic household.
But exactly. That's because you already have that sense of feeling like you can't get out.
Yeah.
And then if you're in the middle of a quarantine, like literally you probably feel like, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go?
So bad.
Yeah. So it's just like, it's just, these are some negative, like a few of the negative things that have come out of this. And
it's for just sure. Like, I mean, not much positive has come out of any of this, but
this is true.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a fun story.
Now we're moving from one fun story to another fun story.
Speaking of death. I love your last
Oh yeah. Speaking of
death.
Oh God.
Oh God.
So
well,
bad.
this story is definitely not a fun story, is it, Daniel?
It's like
it's the story about Jacob Blake.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard about this, but I haven't heard enough. So please enlighten me and the audience.
Well, I mean, the research that I've done is just I was skimming this story briefly.
He didn't die, did he? Did he get paralyzed?
So basically, from my understanding, okay, hang on, where does it say? Blah, 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 blah.
So basically, guys, if you haven't heard of the story, which I'm sure a lot of you have, if you follow social media, at least like you've heard it to some degree, like I have. So a black man named Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin was basically, what happened?
So it's down here. So basically, Blake was reportedly attempting to try to break up some altercation between two women when the cops arrived on the scene. Now, somebody had filmed a video which shows Blake moving towards the driver's seat of his car when a police officer, one of the Kenosha police officers, grabbed his t-shirt and fired 7 times at Blake's back.
Oh my God.
And apparently Blake had 3 sons that were currently in the car at the time while all this was happening. Yeah, which is really, really bad. Now, they tried to justify the behavior. Like the police said, he had a knife tucked away. He had, they tried to taser him before the shots were fired and like a bunch of other stuff. But like, again, I don't think that was captured in the video. And it makes me wonder how true that necessarily was.
Right.
And also, again, and we talked about this like in detail in one of our other podcast episodes.
Yeah.
But the thing about this is, again, I just feel like police they should be taught to use appropriate force.
Yeah.
And again, if they were trying to like subdue this guy and he was grabbing a knife or something, again, are 7 shots being fired, is that appropriate force in that situation.
No.
You know, so I think again it comes to question like how is that justification for those actions, and why are they not why did this happen in the first place anyway? So there's a lot more stuff that's happened.
Right. Okay. So it says that he's in stable condition, but his family has said he will be paralyzed from the waist down.
Yeah. So basically, he won't be able to walk ever again in his life.
Oh God. Okay. So tell me more. Okay. What else? I know that sparked more protests.
Exactly. So what happened in Kenosha? So this happened. So basically, this video went viral on Sunday. This was last Sunday, by the way, guys.
Right. Oh my God, I'm so out of the loop.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I just it's just
I've just been like in my own little summer bubble. Anyway, continue.
So basically, this was on so last Sunday, and this video went viral, and of course, it created a protest. Yes, so people were like, oh my God, what's going on? So then a massive protest was organized in Kenosha. Yeah. I believe it was in Kenosha as well on the 25th. So it was Tuesday, the 25th, which was a couple days after the original incident that happened. Now, during this protest, there was a rogue person. I'm going to find his name. Where is it?
Oh, I forgot about this too.
Yeah. So basically, where's that guy's name? It's at the top here. Okay, so this guy named Kyle Rittenhouse,
17 years old,
only 17 years old, reportedly traveled to Wisconsin because he knew about this anti-police brutality protest, and basically went there with a shotgun.
Oh my God!
To protect local businesses in the midst of this whole protest.
Is this in his words? He said he went there to protect.
Yeah, I think it was in his words. Okay. Reportedly. So he
killed 2 protesters.
Yeah. So then basically 2 people were fatally shot. And another person was injured. So 2 people died and 1 person was injured. Yeah.
That's
crazy.
Fucking crazy.
But
also, I'm not even shocked. Is it bad that I'm not shocked?
I mean, again, it's just like, we kind of, I don't even know where to start with this story, because it's really just like we saw what happened with George Floyd so recently, which sparked a huge I guess uptick in awareness, and not that the Black Lives Matter movement has been going on for a while, but this kind of like really pushed everything to the forefront, and it's like a few months later we're continuing having these kind of issues happening, and I feel like we're not. Primarily in the US, why is this not being addressed?
I don't know.
It's obviously an issue, has some kind of issue to do with the training of police or something. Yeah.
Well, that's where that's why people are saying that they need to defund the police, which in the beginning, I think did we talk about this on the podcast?
I think a little bit. Yeah.
But in the beginning, I was like, what does that, I was like, that sounds extreme, right? Mm-hmm. But then I didn't understand the full extent of what they meant. Yeah. So what they mean is that, I mean, again, I don't know exactly, but what they mean is that police shouldn't deal with so many different things that other people that are better trained can deal with it. So for example, someone that's better trained at I don't know, dealing with a conflict, they can deal with it without having someone with a gun, because police are showing up to things that don't require necessarily a police officer, but then they'll show up, and then as soon as a little conflict emerges, they'll shoot somebody.
So is the argument there is that we're basically, the police have a very I guess large roster of different
I think so
events that they would show up to.
So I think there's a lot of different there's a lot of different layers to the whole defund the police thing, which again I don't know enough about. I heard about it, and now I can't really remember exactly. But yeah, one of the things was that, they're just doing too many little things, but then also they're carrying these deadly weapons, which they just use however way they want. Whereas, in many of these cases, they say in so many of the cases in which police respond, they could actually have somebody else better suited to respond that don't necessarily need to go up and show up with a gun. Again, and it's of course training and the fact that they're just trained to just shoot people.
And maybe the part of it, that's a really good point, because maybe because they are going to such a vast variety of different situations, the question would be how do you train somebody to handle all of this
exactly.
You're going to domestic disputes, you're going to drug deals, you're going to things happening with gangsters versus something happening in someone's home, petty theft to grand larceny to robbery to,
or showing up at a store because someone used a forged check.
Exactly. Oh God.
Do 4 police officers need to show up?
Is that required
for a fake bill or a check or whatever it is? It's no. Anyways, fuck. I don't know. Can they fix this? Is this fixable? Is this situation fixable?
I would like to think that it is. I think that every situation there
It's
is some way
fixable.
to like
Okay.
to fix it.
I'm starting to lose hope for
I
humanity,
know.
Daniel.
Oh,
I'm starting to
God.
lose hope.
We're losing faith. This podcast is taking us to a dark
God
place,
damn.
you know?
Well, I just feel like so much needs to be fixed. So
Mhm.
just from this story alone, I see so many different issues, like social issues.
Yeah.
So first we have the police brutality issue.
Yeah.
Second, we have, again, the black issue, you know, the race issue of,
Yeah.
you know, black people being more likely to be targeted.
Yeah.
So that's another issue. And another issue that I have is the gun rights issue of this
Oh,
random guy
God.
that's 17 years old. Why does he even have a gun in the first place?
Well, exactly. This is what's crazy. And I remember I actually watched this, and I watched this really good. It was like Barack Obama talking about gun legislation.
Okay.
Because you know, there's a lot of people in America that are like very much against this gun legislation.
Okay.
And what Barack Obama's argument was, and I can't remember exactly if he was for or against, which is kind of bad. I think he was like for increased
Gun control?
Yeah, gun
Yes.
control. So he was like very much for it. Yeah, he was for it. Sorry. And basically his statement, which I think is so valid, he kind of compared it to driving a car. So he was like, if you think about it, in order to drive a car, you need to have a license, you need to have insurance, you need to be of a certain age, you need to have lessons, there's so many different steps to being able to be a driver, because as soon as you're behind the wheel, you are driving a potential weapon. Do you know what I mean? You could kill somebody from driving. And he was saying, why are the same laws not being applied to guns? Whereby
This sounds like the most common sense thing in the world.
I
So the
know.
fact that he had to make this argument is like so
Crazy.
sad.
But it's because everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people in the States just think like...
Anyone can just get a gun.
Well, and they think, you know
And they
what?
can.
I want to get a gun to protect myself because it's safer if I have a gun.
Yeah.
And then everybody gets this
every
mentality.
statistic in the world shows that is actually not the
Exactly.
case.
It's negative. Like you look at one of the perfect examples of like gun rights and what happened was in Australia, because in Australia, like years and years and years ago, like I think it was in the 80s.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but basically they had a mass shooting in Australia at one of the schools or something.
Right.
And right after that happened, Australia like cracked down on gun legislation. I can't remember exactly what they changed, but they just basically, because they had similar policies to the States at that time.
Oh, okay.
And they were like, no, this is not okay.
Yeah.
We've had a mass shooting, blah, blah, blah. They've cracked down. And since then, they've had like pretty much very little issues with gun control,
Right.
or with gun issues. Whereas if you look at something like the States, that is consistently having these issues.
Oh my God. So many.
And actually the same thing, I'm pretty sure the same thing happened in the UK, because
Yes.
they had a mass shooting in Scotland, I think, at a very famous school.
Okay.
And one of the like famous tennis players, Andy Murray, I don't know if you follow tennis,
No.
but he's very famous. And he was apparently at the school when the shooting happened. So it was like years ago, because he's in his 30s. And again, the UK cracked down on gun legislation.
Mm-hmm.
So, and now they don't really have as much gun crime. They have more problems with knives.
I mean, they have more problems with knives, but
Yeah.
like you can kill so many more people with a gun,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
This whole argument, like, oh, you know, the whole gun rights argument is like, what was it? Guns don't kill people. People kill people.
Yeah.
No, guns do fucking kill people.
Exactly.
And they kill a lot more people than a knife could. Like, if a crazy person had a knife versus a gun,
Mm-hmm.
who do you think could do more damage? Any guesses? Like,
Yeah.
any guesses at all? It's just crazy, these arguments. But the thing is, it's another reason why, the reason why it's so fucked up is because of, again, the gun, what is it, NRA, the National Rifle Association, has so much power.
Yeah.
And they fund politicians like crazy, which is why they'll never, like, which is why I'm saying that it's so hard to get real change, because everything is corrupt.
Yeah.
So if a huge organization that has so much money and so much power can influence politicians so heavily, and that also influences the news that's put out, that influences the things that are taught and everything, so then people also have that mentality.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so hard to change.
It's a vicious cycle.
It's a vicious cycle.
Because it's just like, and you would think that given the number of mass shootings that happen in the US.
Oh my God, so many.
That there's just so many of these mass shootings that happen that eventually like people would start to be like, okay, something needs to change. There's a real issue here, because like it's almost like I think a few times a year they have a huge mass shooting somewhere.
No, not even like, well, it depends on how you classify mass shooting. But I
Yeah.
heard mass shooting is classified as, I don't know, something. But I remember at one point I looked it up and it was like there was more mass shootings than days of the year. Let me just look this up
That's
first.
crazy.
Like it's like insane. Like hold on. look at this. Okay, so this is in 20, like, again, this hasn't changed much, guys. So I just pulled up a quick article here. There were 372 mass shootings in the US in 2015, killing 475 people and wounding 1,870 people. So 372, that is more than days of the year.
That's insane. And here we go. Here's a good, here, you wanted a definition.
Oh, shit.
Mass shooting is defined as a single shooting incident which kills or injures 4 or more people, including the assailant.
Wow. Okay. So it's not even, because I thought it was like maybe 2 people, but
yeah. So apparently, so with 4 or more. Another little thing that kind of links into like what we were talking about like earlier on this podcast as well. One of the things that really bothers me as well, along with the mass shootings, is there's this whole racial profiling that happens as well with mass shootings. Have you seen this? Whereby they'll say, for example, if the mass shooter is of like brown or a different skin tone, they'll be like, oh, it was a terrorist attack.
Yeah.
And if it was a white, like someone that's white or Caucasian,
it's a mass shooter.
It's a mass shooter, and they're just like super religious, or something happened, or
right.
whatever. But it's never like a terrorist attack,
right?
And it's like the wording that they use around it. It's like, why?
Definitely,
it's so bad. Like,
yeah. And I think most mass shooters are white.
I don't know the stats.
I think something like that. Not that matters, but the way that the media portrays it, for example, this is obviously a huge public safety issue.
Yeah.
But
I didn't realize
terrorism, like as in foreign terrorism, is actually not even like, actually maybe I'm just making this up, but like this is a huge issue. Yeah. But the fact is that people always emphasize more if it's like, oh my God, terrorism. It's like, oh my God, this is such a big deal. When this is happening within your own,
within your own community.
Yeah.
I can't believe that there was that many mass shootings in 2015.
And it's still like this. It's
That's
still
insane.
more mass shootings than the days of the year, which is crazy.
What the hell? So more than every single day, there's some kind of mass shooting going on.
At least one a day.
That's insane.
Right. Isn't that crazy? I know.
I'm actually speechless.
It's insane. And yet, people still want their guns.
God damn.
I don't know. What is this obsession with having a gun? I don't understand this.
I don't get it. To be honest, like guns actually scare me.
They scare the shit out of me.
Like if there was one here, I probably wouldn't touch it. 'Cause I'd be like, oh my God, I'm going to accidentally hit the trigger and shoot something.
And that happens. The thing is, it's crazy how much that actually does happen.
Yeah.
Because when you have guns just laying around in your house, like kids can play with them, like, and shit like this happens all the time. Like people accidentally shooting each other, themselves.
Shoot themselves in the head by accident, or
it's happened.
Apparently that's what happened in Tiger King. Do you remember the one kid with what was his name?
I can't remember his name. One of the guys that was
he was playing with a gun, as you do,
he shot himself.
And accidentally shot himself. So
oh God, like, that story still like haunts me to this day.
It's just like, again, I just think the evidence is there that this needs
100%.
This I mean, I keep saying that I'm actually like flabbergasted with this stat. Like it's insane.
It doesn't seem real.
No, because that's literally every single day of the year. There's
and these are just
one.
Mass shootings.
Yeah.
So this does include other shootings that don't qualify as mass shootings.
Exactly, which is less than 4 people.
Yeah. So if it's less than 4 people, then it doesn't qualify as a mass shooting.
It's probably just a homicide.
Exactly. So we don't know the full statistics, but it's actually insane. But these discussions have been going on for a very long time.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Columbine happened in the 90s.
Yeah.
Remember that? That was like at that time one of the big like school shootings.
Yeah.
And I think it happened like maybe mid or late 90s.
Yeah.
And I don't remember how many people died, but quite a few people died. And even before that, I'm sure there were discussions, but that really sparked a huge conversation. But yet we're still here. Yeah. And to this day, there has really been nothing, many changes.
And there hasn't been anything really. What I mean, please feel free to put in the comment section below if there has been something that's substantially changed.
It's
but like,
scary.
I just don't think that there really has, because this continues to be a problem in the US and other places, I guess, that have relaxed gun legislation. It just shows you, and it's like that. Like,
it's
this is
proven.
Exactly. This is the thing. If it wasn't proven, then I couldn't say anything. But like, you only have to look at Australia and the UK that put these gun laws into place, or more stringent gun laws into place, and look at those countries now. Yeah. Like they might still have the occasional mass shooting, like still happens, but not to this level. Like this is like next level shit.
It's next level. It's crazy.
God damn.
Well, but I feel like the people that believe in this like don't really pay attention to actual statistics and what's actually the case. So like, again, it's proven that having more guns doesn't actually save lives. Like, oh, surprise. but they don't pay attention. It's like the same thing as, you know, people that are, you know, anti-abortion or whatever. It's like, here's the thing. Nobody likes abortions. Okay. Nobody enjoys talking about abortions, but it has been basically proven that having not legalizing abortions, having illegal abortions doesn't actually contribute to less abortions happening.
Yeah.
You just have more illegal abortions.
Yeah.
But it doesn't decrease the number of abortions.
Yeah.
But people ignore that statistic.
Yeah.
So it's like
when we talked about this. This is a little bit less of an
what
extreme
is it?
example. Sorry.
Which one? Are you scratching your butt?
No, because my wallet was in there and it was like making me off balance. But another like kind of lesser example of this is around flat earthers. So, you know, like it's like anytime you have these kind of like not even extreme ideologies, but it's like, again, if evidence is proving you contrary to what is going on. I love how I always bring this up.
Yes.
Because I'm just like mesmerized. Okay.
Oh my God, right?
Yeah. And if you're consistently having this evidence, and it has been proven by, you know, like again with the gun legislation, with abortions, with a lot of different things, when the empirical evidence is there, it's hard to refute or argue against it because it has been proven as to that way.
But they think that it's all a conspiracy. Like they don't trust NASA. They think NASA is just faking it all.
Oh God damn.
So I don't know.
That be a situation.
So wow, I didn't know how we got into the mass shooting discussion,
well,
but
it kind of
the
links
Jacob,
in with, it links in with the Jacob.
So again, like this whole story just makes me sad because there's so many societal issues that are kind of present in this whole thing.
I think the thing that's really frustrating is like. And I guess I'm really paying attention to this more because of everything that's been going on.
Yeah.
And I know it's been going on for a long time. It's just now it's more, I feel like I've just seen more of it in the forefront. And it does make me a bit upset because, you know, looking at the Khalif Browder story, looking at George Floyd, and these are incidents that have happened in the past. And again, similar to the gun legislation, I'm like, what has changed now? I mean, I feel like it's getting the movement's getting more vocal and we're getting more awareness, but like systemically, what has actually changed? Because you look at this exact incident that literally happened last Saturday or last Sunday with this guy, Jacob Blake. Yeah. And it's like, what's changed? Oh God. It's how is this different than what's happened to George Floyd as well? I mean, it's obviously the circumstances and stuff are different, but like the outcome and what's happening. Well, Jacob Blake didn't die, but you know, again, you have this so many different elements where it's like super, just like frustrating. Yeah. The last story that I want to talk about, it's just a really brief one, but it links into this as well. Okay. Is, and the only thing is I don't know too much about it, but basically, apparently
I heard about this.
Did you hear about this as well? Yeah. So on the back of what happened with this whole Jacob Blake incident and then the protests and everything else is the NBA players protested themselves and said, you know, I think they had a game that week on the Wednesday or something, and they basically did like a 48-hour protest or something like this, where none of them were like playing any of the games and just basically being like, you know, this is something that we need to change. And I think that there was like a few maybe small initiatives or stuff that came off the back of that. So
I heard though that apparently they were protesting. I could be wrong, but I heard that Obama talked them out of the protest.
Really?
Okay, yes. So, according to this article, how Obama helped convince NBA players to end their strike and return to play. In a call with Chris Paul and LeBron James, Barack Obama urged NBA players to return to the court and resume the playoffs.
The fact that, you know, the NBA players coordinated themselves and did like a big protest like that, I think that's like pretty powerful in itself.
Yeah, for sure.
And it does kind of make me, I'm not sure the reasons why Obama said, you know, you should go back to play and blah, 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 blah. Because I mean, and I'm probably going to offend some people that are big basketball fans, but like, it's not like they're doing life surgery here. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's a sports game.
It's going to cost a lot
to
not play, but
think of the millions that the billions that industry's made already.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? It's not going to hurt them that much.
It's obviously it's a very powerful message if they actually do walk away. So apparently they're just going to play again. And
it lasted like 48 hours, I think. So it wasn't like a long protest, but I think it's and there was I did see some not articles, but like some people were commenting and saying like, you know, what did the NBA players actually achieve in that 48 hours? See, that's another
thing. Here's the thing. I get the protests. I get these actions, but at the same time, it's like you need to actually have I think this is the main problem with a lot of these things, is that people don't actually know what they're asking for when they do these protests. Like, you need to actually understand, okay, let's take a step back from the NBA, but what are they demanding? What are they actually doing by taking a step back? Is this just like an issue of just, oh, we're just gonna like not play and then not ask for anything? Like, what is it going to change? Because they're just going to go back. Barack Obama apparently convinced them to go back. And then, but then what happened? You know, or maybe I could be wrong, guys. Maybe there is something that came out of this, but I do feel like with these type of movements, there needs to be, you know, a real
tangible
ask. Tangible ask, or something that they're actually fighting for. And I think that's one of the issues with when the Black Lives Matter movement started. There was a lot of confused messaging, and people didn't know what they were asking for. A lot of people just made comments and said, and you know, like I'm probably guilty of this too. You know, people were just saying, "Oh, this is wrong," but not really understanding what could actually help change.
Exactly. It's kind of like getting to the. It's like thinking about, and I'm probably guilty of this as well. But it's thinking about and being conscious and saying, okay, how do we actually get to the root of this problem? Like what steps do we need to take as a society? What pressure do we need to put on the government in certain policies and, you know, legislative things, looking at specifically at police brutality? What are things that we need to change and put pressure on the government to change with regards to the police to kind of prevent that stuff from happening? That's the kind of, and it's nobody knows the right answers. You know what I mean? That's what's hard about this stuff as well, because I couldn't tell you what the right answer is. I don't know. But you're right. I think if we don't have any kind of at least ideas or tangible things where we're like, these are the things that we want, you know, the government or whatever to start tackling. It's kind of like, I talked about this in the last episode, that whole red herring thing. But if you're going after the wrong, you're focusing on the wrong things and not like the stem or the root of what the problem is, then it's never, ever going to get solved.
There's so much of that nowadays, though. It's like people just crying over, for example, someone wearing a kimono and like calling racism and saying, oh my God, this is racism because a white girl's wearing a kimono. It's like,
I think,
you know, that kind of stuff. It doesn't achieve anything.
Well, I think a perfect example, and this is just like something I just, you know, random, but like we look at mass shootings, right? So mass shootings, I mean, time and time again, you can see there's something wrong with, we can see from other countries, it's been proven that it's gun legislation that needs to be tightened up. But what they might do in the States is they'll be like, oh my God, we had a mass shooting at the school. What we need to do is increase security at the school. We need to do X, Y, Z. And it's like, that's not solving the problem. That's all that's doing is maybe making that one school a little bit safer. But is that preventing mass shootings going forward? So I think the difficult thing with the whole Black Lives Matter movement is, what issue are we focusing on? And are we just focusing on something such as that, where it's like, maybe it addresses the small part of the problem there, but is it getting at the root of what's going on? And that's a difficult question to ask as well. You know? So.
Well, I think like there is definitely some good, like for example, the whole defunding the police thing, I think that makes a lot of sense, because that's actually asking for like, okay, tangible things that could be changed. And of course there are lots of things, but I think, there needs to be a little bit more of, you know, less empty gestures. Again, I'm not saying this is necessarily, the NBA thing was necessarily an empty gesture, because I don't know enough about it.
Exactly. And it was a powerful message to have the people doing it.
Exactly. But we need some like, you know, they like, especially these powerful fucking people, man, like they can probably demand a lot of things. So, you know, like then if they had a really strong message, then it would have been fantastic. But one thing I want to talk about the mass shootings thing, like, another thing that they like to do when these mass shootings happen is they'll blame things like video games, like violent video games, or I remember like Marilyn Manson was heavily blamed during the Columbine.
Because his music was really like, you know, really
and they
aggressive.
Listened to Marilyn Manson. Instead of focusing on something like gun legislation, or maybe so many other potential issues like mental health, that's a huge issue, because I'm pretty sure they had a lot of mental health issues. But instead of that, they focused on, you know, like they're listening to some like violent music.
Exactly. Which again, it's not getting to the root of the problem. It's like really like it's sidestepping what's actually happening.
Exactly.
So
God damn, this
Yeah.
world be dark as hell.
Damn, and this episode is dark as hell.
Do we ever do a happy
I don't know. I want some like happy news to happen.
Oh my God,
you
no.
know?
Next time we'll talk about Indian matchmaking.
yes.
I finally finished it. Are you rewatching it?
I've started rewatching it because it's so funny.
Oh my God, there's so much to say.
Oh God, this just it's comedic gold basically.
It's so frustrating too though. When I watch it, I'm like, oh, why did they do it this way? Anyway, we'll complain about it next week.
So and this is actually because we did a post on our Instagram page at the SaVeg Podcast if you're not following us already.
Yes.
And it was funny because it was like a one of the Indian matchmakers, one of the key players that we both love, Aparna.
Yes.
And quite a few people were like, you guys need to do an episode on this. You guys need to do an episode on this. So we're
And
listening
we
to you guys.
will.
Yeah. So
we're definitely going to do an episode.
Oh, goddamn. So stay tuned. That will be coming next.
Oh my God.
Coming at you.
There's so much to discuss.
Oh God, there really is.
It's all tied into the modern love thing that we love to talk about so much.
Oh God, the modern love.
Modern love.
Yeah. So I think that actually concludes our lovely, positive, vibrant episode today. Sorry, guys, if we're bringing a damper on your day today.
They're used to this now.
That's true.
We always talk about this
again,
depressing shit.
Oh, goddamn. But it's just interesting. I mean, I think it's really important, again, to talk about this stuff. And
yeah, you got to talk about the bad shit to make the world better. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Okay.
God damn.
So anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget, we do have a Patreon account where we do an extra episode every single month for our patrons only. So if you guys want to join us there, patreon.com/the SaVeg Podcast. You can also get the episodes earlier than everybody else, a week earlier. Yeah. So it's much more timely.
And this month's August Patreon exclusive was really
juicy.
good. Yeah, it was all
We talked about the ex-vegans.
We talked about the ex-vegans.
And we got a little bit gossipy, didn't we?
Damn,
we got a little gossipy.
So yeah, if you want to see that, definitely check that out.
I still feel very like, oh God,
I know.
Did we do that episode? Did we put that out there?
We did, and it's out there, Rose.
I know it's out there. It's only out there for the patrons.
This is true.
If you want the juicy, gossipy sort of episode, then check it out.
Yeah, check it out. Anyway, again, thank you so much for tuning in this week, guys. And yeah, thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah. Bye. Bye.